This is the summarized version on the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of Persons with Disability. The United Nations Conventions on the Rights of Persons with Disability is a significant international treaty aimed at ensuring that persons with disabilities enjoy full and equal rights and their dignity is respected. Article 1. Purpose. The Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability aims to promote, protect, and ensure the full enjoyment of human rights for persons with disability and the respect for their dignity.
Article 2. Definitions. This article provides key definitions including discrimination on the basis of disabilities, reasonable accommodation, and universal design.
Article 3. General Principles. Contains principles such as respect for dignity, non-discrimination, full participation, equality, accessibility, and respect for the evolving capacity of children with disability. Article 4. General Obligations. State parties are required to adopt legislative and other measures to implement the rights recognized in the Convention, ensuring non-discrimination and promoting human rights for persons with disability. Article 5. Equality and non-discrimination mandates that every person is equal before the law and prohibits discrimination based on disability. Article 6. Women with disability recognizes the specific challenges faced by women with disabilities and mandates measures for their empowerment. Article 7. Children with disabilities ensure children with disabilities enjoy all rights equally, emphasizing on their best interests and rights to participate in decisions affecting them.
Article 8. Awareness raising. Calls for effective measures to raise awareness and disabilities, combat stereotypes, and promote understanding of the contributions of persons with disability. Article 9. Accessibility. Mandates states to ensure physical and virtual accessibility for persons with disability to all services and facilities. Article 10. Rights to life. Reaffirms the inherent rights to life for persons with disabilities and obligates states to ensure its enjoyment.
Article 11. Situation of risk. Address the need for protection and safety for persons with disability in emergencies and situations of risk. Article 12. Equal recognition before the law. Affirms the legal capacity for persons with disabilities and mandates support for exercising this capacity. Article 13. Access to justice. Ensures effective access to justice for persons with disabilities, including accommodation in legal settings. Article 14. Liberty and security. Guarantees the right to liberty and security, preventing arbitrary deprivation of liberty due to disability. Article 15. Freedom from torture. Prohibits torture, inhumane or degrading treatment or punishment for persons with disabilities. Article 16. Freedom from exploitation, violence, and abuse. Requires measures to protect against exploitation, violence, and abuse, with special concern for gender aspects. Article 17. Protecting integrity. Affirms the right of persons with disability to respect for their physical and mental integrity. Article 18. Liberty of movement. Recognizes the rights relating to movement, residency, and nationalities of persons with disabilities. Article 19. Living independently. Recognizes the right to live independently and be included in the community. Article 20. Personal mobilities. Ensures effective measures for personal mobilities and independence, including access to mobility aids and training. Article 21. Freedom of expression. Affirms the right to freedom of expression and access to information in accessible formats. Article 22. Respect for privacy. Protects against arbitrary interference with privacy and ensures the confidentiality of personal information. Article 23. Respect for home and family. Guarantees the right related to marriage, family, and parenthood without discrimination. Article 24. Education. Recognizes the right to inclusive education and guarantees access to quality education for persons with disabilities. Article 25. Health. Affirms the right to the highest attainable standards of health without discrimination. Article 26. Habilitation and rehabilitation. Obligates states to provide comprehensive rehabilitation service to enhance independence and participation. Article 27. Work and employment. Recognizes the right to work and mandates measures to ensure equal employment opportunities for persons with disabilities. Article 28. Adequate standard of living. Ensures the right to an adequate standard of living and social protection for persons with disabilities. Article 29. Participation in political and public life. Ensures political rights and participation in public life of persons with disabilities. Article 30. Participation in cultural rights. Affirms the right to access and participate in cultural, recreational, and sporting events. Article 31. Statistics and data collection. Mandates the collection of data for policy making while respecting privacy and confidentiality. Article 32. International cooperation. Encourages international cooperation to promote the implementation of the Convention. Article 33. National implementation and monitoring. Requires states to establish mechanisms for monitoring implementation and involving civil societies. Article 34. Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disability. Establish a committee to oversee the implementation of the Convention. Article 35. Reports by state parties. Obliges states to report on measures taken to implement the Convention within specific timeline. Article 36. Consideration of reports. Outlines how committee reviews and make recommendations based on submitted reports. Article 37. Cooperation between state party and the committee. Encourages collaboration between the committee and state parties in fulfilling obligations. Article 38. Relationship with other bodies. Establish cooperative relations between the committee and other relevant organizations. Article 39. Reports of the committee. States that the committee shall report periodically to the General Assembly and other UN bodies. Article 40. Conference of State Parties. Mandates regular meetings of state parties to discuss the implementation of the Convention. Article 41. Depository. Designates the General Secretary of the UN as the depository of the Convention. Article 42. Signature. Opens the Convention for signature by states and regional organizations. Article 43. Consent to be bound. Details the process for ratification and accession to the Convention. Article 44. Regional Integration Organizations. Clarifies how the Convention applies to regional organizations. Article 45. Entry into force. Specifies the conditions under which the Convention enters into force. Article 46. Reservations. Outline permissible reservations to the Convention. Article 47. Amendments. Establish the process for amendments to the Convention. Article 48. Denunciation. Allows states to withdraw from the Convention under specific conditions. Article 49. Accessible format. Ensure the Convention is available in accessible formats. Article 50. Authentic text. Confirms the authenticity of multiple language versions of the Convention.